I was just wondering, during the research for your book, did you come across any positive examples of things that people, organizations, businesses, initiatives are doing to reflect an aging population with a higher percentage of child-free individuals and couples?
Yes, some, and I've continued to research this subject because it's the one thing I came away from the book with lots of questions about still. One thing I have discovered is that kinless elders, that is people who are aging without immediate family, is one of the fastest growing demographics in America, which suggests that it probably tracks in the UK and across Europe as well, other countries where the birth rate is really low. And so when I think about my aged years, I think about human ingenuity, and I think how good human beings are at figuring out ways to make shit work. And I think that because these populations haven't necessarily existed or been acknowledged before, we haven't needed to have solutions for older people who are aging without family. And I think we're going to need those solutions. And so I have full faith in our ability to figure it out. That said, a couple of things that have been really inspiring. There's a woman called Jodie Day, who I interviewed for the book. She runs an organization called Gateway Women, which is specifically for the involuntarily childless, people who haven't been able to have the children that they want. But she also, I think, has really broadened her scope to speak to any women without kids. And she, which I mentioned it very briefly in the book, and it's small grassroots, but she is proactively helping to facilitate communities and relationships between, like, intergenerational relationships between women without kids, because she's like, she's in her 60s now. She's like, I know when I'm in my 80s, I'm going to need to know women who are in their 60s who can come and help me out with my internet or like pick up some groceries or whatever it might be. So I'm really inspired by people, by just seeing small grassroots things like that. She actually posted something, I think The Guardian ran a big feature about, I can't remember what it's called, but you can look it up. It's like a London's commune for older women. And so it's like a co-living situation for, older women. And I'm assuming probably either don't have children or are estranged from their children, which also is very common, by the way. Everyone who says, who's going to look after you when you're old? Well, I also found some research after doing the book, finishing the book, that said that up to 60% of people in nursing homes or old people's homes don't ever receive any visitors. And I think we've probably seen it with our own eyes, actually, that just because you have children doesn't mean you're going to have a great relationship with them, doesn't mean they're going to be in a position to support you or help you out when you're older. So I think just being realistic about the supports we're going to need in place. Writing the book made me get really serious about starting my own retirement account and investing in starting now in my mid-40s to invest in my retirement, as did noticing, I helped my mum out financially and realizing that I'm not going to have a me and having the real kind of lived experience of that and be like, okay, I need to be that me now. I need to be really serious about prioritizing my retirement savings. So yeah, these sorts of things. But I also, I think, realized that, my generation of women, Gen X women, we're truly the first generations who are who have the ability to create financial stability for ourselves in our old age. That wasn't available to my mother's generation. She wasn't offered a college education or given the opportunity to pursue a career that had like any kind of benefits attached to it. Her retirement plan was get married and be looked after. And my generation wasn't raised with that message. And so I think aging is going to look very, very different for women in particular, for kind of like Gen X women onwards.
Super. Thank you very much.